This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is how to count to 10 in Japanese. Let's not waste any time and get to it. いくぜ! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there you have it. Arigato for attending my class, my students. And remember to request me on Kamio. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is Hawaii. Or as I like to say, Hawaii is kawaii. Because Hawaii were the first Westerners in the world to properly adapt Japanese culture. They realized how much better Japan is and made an effort to change for the better. Hawaiian shirts are a perfect example of this cultural expansion. Koichiro Miyamoto created these shirts using fabrics from kimonos, and now this Japanese creation is famous the world over, all thanks to the Japanese. This is proof that Japanese culture is super sugoi and can make any country better. We just need to keep expanding Japanese culture into other territories. I will be doing it here in Sweden, and you swordlings can start doing it in your country, and make the world a much more sugoi place. Arigato for attending my class, my students, and be sure to request me on Kamio. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is Masaki Hatsumi Sensei. You all refer to me as Sensei, but it's time for me to introduce my Sensei. Masaki Hatsumi Sensei is the Togakere Ryosoke, ninjutsu grandmaster and the founder of the Bujikan organization. And he is super cool. At the age of 92, he is one of the strongest beings in the world. And the most powerful shinobi of our generation. He is still able to easily take down any opponents of any size despite his age with his impressive and skillful ninja techniques and jutsus. And if it wasn't for him, I would not be the martial artist I am today. I can't wait to travel to Japan again so that we can have an intense and educational sparring match together in a beautiful Japanese garden. Domo arigatou gozaimashita for everything, Masaki Sensei. And arigato for attending my class, my students. Be sure to request me on Kamio. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is Nega. Nega is a good word to keep in mind. And just like the words kombini and horage, nega is a shortened form of another English word. Nega is short for negative. But since a lot of Japanese people are positive and polite, it can only really be useful when referring to certain Westerners. So if you encounter someone who is very rude and angry, you can say, wow, this person is very nega. But like I said, if you are in Japan, you won't have to worry, since Japan doesn't have a lot of nega people. Arigato for attending my class, my students. Be sure to request me on Kamio. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is Kusoge. Kusoge is a portmanteau of the words kuso and gemu. Kuso means crap or shit. Gomenasai for being a bit crude there. And gemu means video game. So kusoge effectively means shit game. Gomen once again. But what this term is used for is to describe all Western games. Since Japanese games are well designed and super sugoi because they were made by passionate geniuses in the industry, having a word like this is very useful for distinguishing the good from the bad. And Western game uses bad game design with ugly, overused copy-paste character designs and B-movie tier scripts, because the creators of these things are completely passionless and only cares about money. So next time you see a baka Western game, you can use the word kusoge. Arigato for attending my class, my students. And be sure to request me on Kamio. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is how to bow like the Japanese. The Japanese word for the respectful and honorable bow you see the Japanese do is called oyigi. There are 3 forms of oyigi. The first 2, esaku and keirei, as well as the third form, are commonly used by the Japanese. But you Westerners only need to know the third and last form, saikeirei. Here's how you do it. You need to place your arms firmly at your sides and then bow forward at a 45-degree angle. Saikeirei means the most respectful gesture and is used to show the most utmost respect to the people who are superior to you. So you Westerners make sure to always use saikeirei when you meet a Japanese person, especially those of you from America, since you will have to make up for your people's past sins. Arigato for attending my class, my students. Be sure to request me on Kamio. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is anime dub. Today we're going over the disrespectful and gross act of dubbing anime. This is when Westerners take the original splendid and sugoi Japanese voice acting from an anime just to replace them with badly designed voice lines in English or other languages. A lot of Westerners are defending this borderline criminal act, mostly because a lot of Westerners are racist towards the Japanese. But there's also those who are too dumb and lazy to learn Japanese. And the sinful and corrupt companies who are doing the dubbing are doing it to try and trick these customers into thinking that it's a Western product, all so that they can make money. So instead of supporting these evil companies, you all should go out there and learn the Japanese language, so that you can watch anime without being racist. Arigato for attending my class, my students, and be sure to request me on Cameo. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's word is yokai. The closest translation to the word yokai in the English language would be apparition, but do not mistake yokais as just some made-up ghosts or specters. Yokais are spirits and or demons you can find in Japan, and because of the Sessoseki incident of 2022, yokais have now spread to the West. Yokai are dangerous. A lot of Westerners are suffering from depressions. Just look at how bad the self-slaughter rates are in the US, and compare it to Japan. This is because yokai are the #1 cause of depression. And all Japanese people perform ohare regularly, while Westerners are completely ignorant to it. So I suggest that all of you start performing ohare rituals at least once every week to ward off these harmful yokai. Do this and you will be free of all yokai, and your depressions will be gone. Arigato for attending my class, my students. Be sure to request me on Cameo. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is kanojo. Kanojo is a word to describe a romantic female partner in Japanese. In English, this word would be girlfriend, which is a very strange word if you ask me. Wouldn't girlfriend refer to just a friend who is also female? English doesn't make any sense, and this is why I'm teaching you superior Japanese instead. Now, I would also like to mention this before my female fan starts asking. I am not looking for a kanojo right now. Gomenasai. And I have no interest in Western females. I am also currently focused on making art and expanding my online presence. So yes, I have no interest for a kanojo right now. But that will change once I reach my goal of moving to Japan. Then I will find my very own kawaii Japanese female kanojo, who I will be spending my life with. Arigato for attending my class, my students. Be sure to request me on Cameo. Mata ne! This is the Japanese lesson of the week. This week's lesson is bukake. Bukake means to splash or to sprinkle, like the very popular and traditional Japanese food, bukake udon, which all of you should try when you eventually visit Japan. Bukake have many different uses as well, like if you're about to do some work in the garden, you can say, I'm going to go bukake my flowers now. Or if some car driver splashed water on you while you were on the side of the road, you can say, that baka driver bukake all over me. Which shows that bukake is very useful in everyday life. Arigato for attending my class, my students. And be sure to request me on Cameo. Mata ne!